Hey guys, so it would be really fun to teach with authority and tell you all the things I know, but if you watch my videos, you're crazy anyway, and I love you. So this video is going to be more of a journal entry about how I completely messed up and went around back and forth the past week. And I'm not going to go into too much detail of how things happen, because honestly, I can't even remember linearly, and my memory is unfolding right now anyway. And all of this is very difficult to grasp. So basically, I started to realize more fully the truth that there's no one here doing anything. And so while I had this bigger realization that I include my deepest, darkest fears and there's no me, there still feels like there's somebody who has intuition and who needs to follow the intuition, and somebody doing this, somebody on a path, and somebody living their life, somebody who doesn't do the dishes or does do the dishes. And it started with this realization that a thought is a thought. And when I say that, that means nothing to you, but I was using and reading language that was disregarding everything as being a thought. That's just a thought coming up and shooting down everything, and that's just a thought. And so this really got at the core problem for me, that a thought is a thought and nobody is really thinking them. And so when for years you've thought of the work as watching your thoughts and picking the ones that are good and picking the ones that aren't good, it's kind of crazy. So ironically, the big lesson I got from here that I wanted to really share is that differentiating your thoughts can be incredibly helpful. Because what happened is I got deeper into this insight. I started turning it into thought and beliefs. And so here's where differentiating can really help. So Roger Castillo, highly recommend him. And this is his language. And he is an excellent teacher on doership. I'm just starting to really get into him. But this was a huge insight for me and explained after the fact. And hopefully this can help somebody avoid some of the drama that I fell into. That this is the irony of everything, is that differentiating between two types of thoughts, making distinctions between things, is actually how we realize oneness with the mind. The mind is something that distinguishes, and so distinctions can be incredibly powerful. It's kind of one of those miraculous things. So the distinction that Roger made is that there's the working mind and the thinking mind. So the thinking mind is the ego mind that's based on the survival of self, and it's dramatic. You could call it emotional, but that wouldn't be quite correct. And the working mind is what we set, like the hunting dogs after the prey, on the thinking mind. And so the working mind is one that reads spiritual language, that recites a mantra, that counts sheep before it goes to bed. And in personal development, you're starting to change habits and everything by putting the working mind into use. And so if you've ever heard of Mel Robbins, she has this counting down from 10 that she said completely changed her life. She wouldn't even get out of bed in the morning, but if she had just counted to 10 and then blast off, she'd get out of bed and it would be fine. It's because she had shut off that the thinking mind had so much power in that situation that she'd learned to shut it off and give the job to the working mind. And so this is exactly what we're doing when we're following the breath. And another thing I'm starting to realize is that the body exists within the mind. And so the breath and tying the mind, using the working mind to go into the body, is dissolving everything. And how that all works and comes together, I don't know yet. We'll find out. But there's a lot. So the mistake that happens is when you give the job of the working mind unconsciously, it gets hijacked by the thinking mind. And that's what happened in my case and why I fell into such a depression. And when you start to, you can imagine when, when the thinking mind gets hold of the insights, there's no me. It's really bad. It can get really bad. And it's really funny because that is not, it's turning that into something. And it's ridiculous when you see it fully. But in the moment, it does not feel that way. So it helps to distinguish that. And that, just making that distinction gives the working mind another tool to truly unravel this. And here's the thing that I do not know and don't understand, but there's something about the thinking mind, that how it experiences positivity and pleasure is something more powerful than I can understand. So when I'm talking about the thinking mind, think of it in negativity, and there's also when we feel pride and we feel like we've accomplished something with the doership, when there's an us and when we turn it into outside things, that's like building a house of cards that can be collapsed really easily. And so while that feels like positive emotion, if you set the working mind on that and on kind of rooting that out, you might find that that's not actually the case. So realizing the truth that there's nobody doing anything is a huge load off. And it ironically feels like the thinking mind says, I'm giving up everything. I'm giving it all away. I am nothing now. But it's really, it's love in its purest form unfolding. It's everything you've ever wanted, the essence, the core, direct, everything you've ever wanted. And the thinking mind is what veils this. And so don't get sucked into the trap of thinking that thoughts are bad, because nobody is thinking them. But at the same time, being that is between the thoughts, that the thoughts arises, and knowing that and coming back to that, that's the job of the working mind until it's seen through that even that is not happening. So that's all for today. I hope you found this helpful. Please consider subscribing if you haven't already, and I love to hear from you guys in comments. Thanks for watching. Bye.